Hi everyone, my name's Jordan and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the quarter year crisis tag. Thank you Kyle for tagging me in this. I will link his channel down below. This is kind of like a checkup on where you're at with reading so far in the year. I'm going to preface this video by saying that it is very hot outside right now. We're having a heat wave in New Jersey for just this weekend, of course. And I have to turn off my AC while I'm filming because it's incredibly loud. So if I start to look a little sweaty, a little dewy, pretend I don't. Thank you. Anyway, let's get right into it. The first question is, have you already found a book you think might be a 2022 favorite? I've got 3 for this. I don't think any of these will come as a surprise to any of you because I've talked about these books a lot. First up, I have The Atlas Six by Olivia Blake. This book I've talked about so much. I read this in January, I believe. January or February? I think January. And absolutely fell in love with it. I've now tried to convince all of my friends to read it. I love this book, and the second one comes out this year. This was a 5-star read for me. This book is about a secret society of magic users that are basically like the Illuminati, like they run everything. And there are these 6 adults that are chosen to basically try out for this secret society, but only 5 of them can make it in. And it is just about these 6 super pretentious people that are all battling, but also all really wanting to learn. And it's a very good book, very dark academia vibes, you know, it's great. Next up, I have Mad Ship by Robin Hobb, which is the second book in the Live Ship Traders trilogy. I just posted a review for the whole trilogy. I'll link that video above. But this series is so incredible. I'm pretty sure I gave all 3 of them 5 stars. I think I did. But Mad Ship is the second one, and that one was my favorite of the 3. They are all superb. It's set in the same world as the Farseer trilogy, but in a different area, so there's no connection yet to any of the characters from the Farseer trilogy. This follows a family who owns a live ship, which is basically a ship that is made out of this special wizard wood, and after 3 successive generations have one person die on the ship in a family, the ship becomes quickened and basically is now a live ship, and there's a figurehead that is alive. It can talk to them, it has emotions, it has memories from the family, and it can travel in tougher waters than a regular ship can. Before this last captain dies on the ship, he leaves his ship to his eldest daughter and her husband instead of his other daughter who has lived on this ship basically. She had expected to inherit it, and instead he gives it to his eldest daughter and her husband because his wife convinces him that that is the way to go. So it's basically this long voyage story, all of these different perspectives doing different things, Althea's trying to get her ship back, and then there's a pirate point of view, and the whole thing's incredible. The whole story's great. I probably just did an awful job of explaining it, but the whole series is fantastic. Mad Ship is where things really pop off. The first book was more of a introduction to the world, introduction to the characters. The second book was where the plot really picks up, and then the third book is where we get all of the satisfying conclusions. They're all great. Mad Ship is one of my favorite books of all time. This series is for sure in my top favorite fantasy series of all time. So check out this series, check out Robin Hobb. I will preach it in every video it seems like, but I have no regrets. Lastly, I have Light from Uncommon Stars by Rika Aoki. This is a sci-fi book that is so unique and beautiful. I've talked about it in some other videos. It follows this woman who made a deal with the devil. She's a violinist, and she has made this deal that she will not be able to perform for people until she has given over 7 people to the devil. She has to train them to be master violinists and then convince them to make a deal with the devil. So this master violinist is on her 7th pupil, and she enlists this young woman who has no formal training and has been living a tough life. She's a trans woman whose family does not accept her, and she just wants to perform. She just wants to make art. So she takes her under her wing, and it's this really wholesome, beautiful story about struggles and family, found family. It is so good. I highly recommend it. The next question is any 1-star books or least favorite books of the year. So I have not had any 1-star books yet. It takes a lot for me to rate a book 1 star. But I have had 2 that stuck out to me that I really didn't enjoy. They both got 2 stars. The first one being The Dragon Reborn by Robert Jordan. This is the 3rd book in the Wheel of Time series, and I really didn't like it. I thought it was so boring. I've talked about it in some wrap-ups, I believe. I did not like it. I think Robert Jordan's writing is very weird. I don't really like his characters, but the plot is interesting enough that I've continued on. But The Dragon Reborn was so boring. It was basically just like everyone traveling to the same place without knowing they were all traveling to the same place, and it wasn't good until the very end when they all actually met there. But the rest of it was just so boring. I really did not like it. And then the second one is Electric Idol by Katie Robert. This is the 2nd book after Neon Gods. Neon Gods was a Hades and Persephone retelling that was super steamy, super fun. I really liked it, so I got really excited for this one. This one follows Eros and Psyche, and I just thought it was so boring. Basically, it's like a marriage of convenience kind of thing, but it was just so contrived. I didn't think it was like justified, and the steamy scenes were boring as heck. Like, I was just like, what am I reading? Do not recommend this one. Neon Gods is great. The premise is fun. The steamy scenes are good. This one was so boring in comparison. I did not like it. The next one is a quick one. It's your most read genre. Obviously fantasy. Fantasy is number 1. That's basically most of what I read. But then second would probably be romance, and third would be nonfiction. I've been doing my best to read more nonfiction this year, and then I just really like romance, so that's that. Next up is a book that surprised you. So I have 3 for this one. First is All My Rage by Sabaa Tahir. This is a YA contemporary book, and I normally do not read YA contemporary. I don't read much contemporary fiction at all. It's just not my genre. I don't enjoy it very much. But I gave this one a shot because I loved the Ember and the Ashes series, and I heard that Sabaa Tahir had worked on this book for like over 10 years, I believe. So I decided to read the audiobook, and it was fantastic. It follows these 2 main points of view. It's 2 Muslim American teens that are in high school, and they live in a small town, and it's basically their struggles as they just try to survive. And it is a beautiful story, so well told, and absolutely fantastic. But it really surprised me because it's not a genre I normally like. I thought I would be very bored, but I totally got it. It was so good. I would definitely recommend it. Next I have Gideon the Ninth, which I've talked about in some other videos. I read this as an audiobook last year and thought it was boring and made no sense. I was so confused. I didn't know what was going on. But I see like all the fan art everywhere, and I see everyone talking about it, and I was like, maybe if I read a physical copy, I'll change my mind. And I sure as hell did. I thought that the book was so fun when I read it like physically, and even though I knew what the ending was, I still teared up at the end. It's a really fun book to read. The story is so fun. The characters are great. It's funny. So I'm definitely gonna be reading Harrow the Ninth soon, and very excited for the rest of the series as well. I think that it was really surprising how much I liked Gideon the Ninth the second time, because I went into it thinking like, okay, I was worried I was going to try to force myself to like it because everyone else liked it. And so I was like, I just don't think it's a book for me, but let me try again. And it was worth it. So good, so funny. I buddy read it with my best friend Stephanie, and we both really enjoyed it. And lastly, I have Age of Myth by Michael J. Sullivan. This is the Legends of the First Empire series. This one was my first foray into Michael J. Sullivan, and while it wasn't like as much of a surprise as the other 2, I went into it thinking that maybe it just wouldn't be for me because of just preconceived notions. I had heard kind of like a rough premise that it was like very traditional fantasy, and sometimes that doesn't work for me. and I was just so surprised at how much I fell for the characters right away. The characters were so magical and perfect, and I just loved spending time with them. I've read the first 4 out of 6 of that series. I'm really bummed because none of my libraries have the 5th and 6th as audiobooks. I listened to the first 4 as audiobooks, so I need to read the last 2 physical copies. So gonna get to that hopefully soon. And then move on to his other series. But this one was well worth it. I really, really love this series. His characters are fantastic. Next up, I have books that have come out in 2022 that you want to read but haven't gotten to yet. I have 3 for this one. I've been pretty good at keeping up with books as they come out, but there's 3 that I haven't gotten to yet, but I hope to get to all 3 of them like right away. I have 2 of them as audiobooks checked out from the library, and one of them I've already started. So first I have Book Lovers by Emily Henry. This is her new romance novel. She wrote Beach Read and People We Meet on Vacation. People We Meet on Vacation was one of my favorite books last year. I will link that video above. Needless to say, I am very hyped for this one. Nervous though, because I'm seeing like some mixed reviews from other booktubers I follow, but I'm still really excited. The premise seems really cool. It's about an agent and an editor who both find themselves in this small town for like a vacation or something. They're both rivals, they hate each other, and it's supposed to be like an enemies to lovers kind of thing. Sounds really cute. I love Emily Henry's communications between her characters, and I always feel like her romances are very believable. They don't ever seem like contrived or forced or anything, so I'm very excited to read this, hopefully this month. Next up, I have Book of Night by Holly Black. This is her new adult fantasy. I believe it's adult fantasy. I honestly have no idea anything about this. I don't know what it's about, and I want to keep it that way. I have the audiobook checked out, so I will be reading that within the next couple of weeks. I have to finish the first law book first, and then I will be reading this, and I also have Book Lovers checked out as an audiobook. So these 2 I am hoping to get to within the week or so, week and a half. Very excited for this. And lastly, the book I'm currently reading is Kaikeyi by Vaishnavi Patel. This is a mythological retelling about the Queen Kaikeyi. I don't know a whole lot about the original story. I'm kind of going into this one blind as well, but I really love going into stories blind because I like surprises. So I'm reading this one right now. I just started it, like literally I think I'm like 8 pages in because I kept getting distracted yesterday, so really haven't actually started it if we're being honest. So gonna be reading this, hopefully finish it in the next week or so. Very excited for it though. The next question is one goal you made that you're succeeding at. I've got 2. I don't really set a whole lot of goals besides like my just number of books reading goal. So that one I'm on track. I've read 51 out of 100, I believe, so I'm ahead of schedule on that. But another one that is kind of like a loose goal, I made a video that was series I want to start in 2022, which I will link above, and I've actually started a lot of them. I've started and finished the Live Ship Traders trilogy. I've started the First Law trilogy. I started the Legends of the First Empire. I don't remember if I talked about that series in that video, but I did start that. So I feel like I'm doing pretty good with that. There's a bunch of other series on that video, and I'm hoping to start those as well. We'll see. But I think I'm doing a pretty good job. I've kind of started to be a little easier on myself. When I first started this channel, I felt like I needed to be reading certain books, and I needed to be very structured about it. And now I've kind of loosened it up. Like I have 2 arcs that are coming out next month, and now I'm like, listen, I've been having a lot of fun reading what I feel like reading and not reading what I feel like I have to read. So I'm debating if I'm gonna get to them because they're not books that I'm like super pumped for. So we'll see, but I'm just trying to maybe be a little more of a mood reader, but not really, because I still have like a very strict list on my phone of books I want to read, but I'm making sure I'm like reading the ones I want to read. I'm skipping ones if I don't feel like reading it at the time. So I'm trying to let myself just enjoy what I'm reading. I've also given myself more time to like watch TV shows that I haven't watched, because I don't watch a lot of TV anyway. I'm not like super into TV, but like I really have been wanting to watch Bridgerton, and I've just been putting it off because I'm like, I don't have time, I have to be reading. But I've kind of decided, like, just watch it. So I started Bridgerton, which is very fun, loving it. So just kind of being a little less strict with myself. Like, this is supposed to be for fun. If I don't have fun, then I won't continue with it. So having fun. The last question is one goal you made that you need to focus on. I have a goal that I want to read 12 nonfiction books this year, and I think I'm doing okay. I think I've read 5, and this is the 5th month, so I'm on track. So I just need to continue reading at least 1 a month, and I'm on track for that, but I just need to not forget about it. I actually don't mind reading nonfiction. I do a lot of audiobooks for my nonfiction books, and I really love having somebody like telling me all of this stuff. I feel like I learn better, and I don't get as bored if I'm listening to it. So that was all of the questions. I am going to tag my friend Kushi Kishore, whose channel I will link down below. She is a fellow newer booktuber. Some of my new favorite booktubers are Kushi Kishore, Venus Escapes to Read, Reads by Kyle. There's a longer list. I love supporting new booktubers because I'm also a new booktuber, and we all are out here to support each other. So go check out their channels. I will link them down below. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what some of your favorite books so far this year have been. If you really like my videos, please hit the notification bell to be notified every time I post a new video. Thank you guys for watching. Of course, your support means the world to me, and until next time, thanks.